We're continuing the Podcast Power series with my friend Sonia, an absolute genius when it comes to SEO. I knew I had to have her on because there are so many misconceptions floating around about SEO and podcasting on the internet. And Sonia is the perfect person to help us clear that all up. She's not just about keywords and blog posts. She's about visibility, discoverability, and your content being seen across all platforms. Most podcasters don't grow because they don't have a strategy. No more. Welcome to the show, Podcast to Grow, where I help coaches and entrepreneurs turn their podcast into their most powerful business tool. I'm Elena, and I'm breaking down exactly how to get more listeners, more impact, and more sales. Let's get into it. Hey, Sonia, I am so excited to have you here today. You are one of my friends and you are an SEO expert, and I love having you in my network, just asking you here and there, like little SEO tips, because you have amazing tips. And I want my audience to hear what you have to say about SEO and podcasting. We have done a few events together about SEO and podcasting. So, yeah, so we're talking about all of that today. So go ahead and say hi if you want and introduce yourself a little bit.
Hey everyone, and hi Melina again. Always excited to speak with you and keep giving more tips as much as I can. And for those that don't know me, I'm Sonia. I'm SEO strategist. My clients call me SEO genius, so I love that. So my whole thing is pretty much helping female founders own every single stage. I don't want to see them just getting stuck on LinkedIn or just on IG. I want them to be on Google, Bing, ChatGPT now. So I do that through my SEO strategy. So yeah, that's who I am.
Yeah, and I know we've worked a little bit on like a podcast SEO formula together that we've done, and it's helped my clients be seen a little bit more than they were before. So we're going to talk about, podcast show notes. Do we really need them? Are they as important? What is important in podcasting with SEO? So let's start by talking about some of the myths, and let's bust some of these SEO myths. So let me ask you, what are the biggest misconceptions podcasters have about SEO?
There's a lot, but one that has been coming on a lot lately with me when I speak with these coaches is keywords. Is all about keywords, or let me go to ChatGPT and hey ChatGPT, can you help me optimize this title for my podcast? And that's one of the things that it makes me sad, because when I see that, and sometimes when I audit these content pieces, sometimes those keywords are not even being searched by anyone, no one. So it's just a waste of energy and time doing that. So I think that's one of the misconceptions, whatever it is. But I've been seeing that a lot lately with that. So
Yeah, I think they just totally miss what is actually going to drive that SEO, and they're just going for whatever is being seen. Maybe they put in their whole entire episode into ChatGPT. They're like, grab the keywords for me. And those keywords are not what your ideal client is even searching. So it's so important to have that knowledge of what is being searched and what is going to actually make someone, or what they're searching, or make them click on that episode title, right? Or read that, once they're reading that description, to entice them to go and listen to the episode. So another question, do you need a blog or YouTube channel for your podcast? And where does the SEO even fit in that because, YouTube is their own, they have their own YouTube SEO and everything and algorithm. And blogs is more Google searched, right? So they're kind of two different things. So can you speak just a little bit to that?
So I guess my take will be a little bit different because for me it's more like a brand optimization, I'll say, instead of like website optimization, YouTube optimization. Now I say more like brand optimization, like optimize your brand to be shown on different types of assets. That could be YouTube, podcast, blogs, now AI, all of that. So if you have the bandwidth and if not, maybe get a little bit of support or something, I would say yes. Be on YouTube, be optimize the content on your website, on your podcast, because nowadays, even if you go search on Google, it's not just your blog. Sometimes you see your YouTube, sometimes you see a lot of Reddit too. You see sometimes even TikTok videos. It's changing how the search is showing being shown to you depending on what you're searching. So I'll say be on every single stage. Pretty much, I always say that because it's optimize your brand. And every, you are on LinkedIn, TikTok, podcast, each one of them pretty much have SEO. So,
Mm.
and it is all about really speaking the language of your audience to see what is it that they're really asking for answers. So that's where you come in to answer those in every type of content that you can. So yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so it's more about optimizing overall and just really speaking like your audience is searching
Mm-hmm.
in every platform.
Yeah,
So,
pretty much. Just, if you go to TikTok, sometimes it's the scrolling thing, right? Uh, well, social media in general is like that. It's more like that's why the hooks, right, on LinkedIn or IG, things are really catchy, but it's also what your people like to be hooked on those
mhm.
one-liners. But when it comes to even when you search on Spotify or it's like you actually type in one specific thing, like I want to get career tips or what to do after a laid off, things like that. You see the language is pretty different. So
Yeah, so just to win, we need to be thinking like our ideal clients are searching. That's how we win.
yeah.
Okay, so let's switch a little bit to some of the foundations of SEO for podcasting. What are the top three things every podcaster should do for SEO right now that's working right now?
Based on with the clients that I have that have podcasts, what is really working is, so what I do for them is really optimize the podcast titles and descriptions because they are reading that. I find even some of my clients, even the free resources that I put on the descriptions, they download that and I'm able to see it that they went to the website and download that freebie.
Nice.
But another thing is like, don't just leave it there. Don't just leave that podcast in there. Repurpose that. So repurpose it into a blog, which that's how I help my clients repurpose into a newsletter, into your social media. It's like break down into different content assets is what's really I'm seeing that is really working for my clients. And yeah, I think repurpose and like always, I think we're gonna be a broken record in here. Like, may optimize those titles. It can be a boring title, but that's actually what your clients sometimes like type in. So, you can work around to make it more like nice. but optimize your titles, speak to your dream clients language, answer their questions pretty much.
Mhm.
Is it that they're asking? And break that down over into your podcast. I'll say that, and link everywhere within your podcast, link to your website, to your social media, to anywhere. Like have them be dancing around your brand.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, I used to always what was part of the podcast industry before was that you always needed your show notes to lead to your website. So, sorry, let me rephrase that. What I meant to say is in the podcast industry, one of the biggest things was that you needed show notes for your podcast because that led people to your website. And once they were at your website, you kind of had them, maybe looking through about you page or finding out more about some other programs that you have. Is that still up to date, or is that kind of going out of the way now that we have more, of that video content, TikTok, YouTube, YouTube podcasts, like all of these other things now? Do we still need to be doing these traditional ways or methods?
For me, it still works. I feel that even though we are, now in the AI space and people are trying to, how can I optimize to show on AI? But it's always going to be based on that foundation, the traditional method of, SEO. It's just that it's evolving and we have to learn new things, but it's always going to be based on that, SEO. So yeah, I still see the show notes working. It's just that I don't like to just put the full transcript in the website, the full show notes, because sometimes you speak really good key points that maybe can be break down into, I don't know, 3 blogs or 2 blogs. So I rather
Ooh.
take that show note and make it into one blog, and where I can kind of break down the process or put there some links so they can go to another blog or another free resource or a free booking call, or look at the services that my clients provide. So I don't just like to just copy and paste the full show notes, because I want to pretty much break down that episode, and it's gives me more leverage to target
Yeah.
different topics too.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And it's just so interesting that you take just some key points and make it into their individual blogs, because then your content, your podcast content is going even further. It's not just one blog post for one episode. It could be multiple, which is huge. And I love using a podcast as a content hub. So that really speaks to, people who are having trouble creating content or they need content. If you have a podcast, you have it right there. Just keep
Mhm.
reusing it over and over and over
Yeah.
again.
And sometimes I even embed the podcast episode on the blog. So sometimes if you don't want to read, they just click on it and then it gives you more engagement,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah,
it's just play around, like, it's like break that down into
right.
pieces. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Um, we've talked about this many times about podcast SEO with titles, and we have a podcast SEO title workshop inside of my membership, Podstar. And so just give us a little bit more of a peek into the idea of titles and SEO. I know that we've talked at length about it, of how to make really great titles. So just give me your take on it a bit.
Yeah, for me, I pretty much base it on, okay, what is like the main topic that I'm talking about in this podcast? And then, I don't know, one example could be, all right, in here, right? Let's say our main topic is how to write podcast titles so people can find them. So then I will go and see. I just go, well, you can just go on Google and just type that main topic and see what comes up. I just want to see how people are searching it. And then I just gather maybe like 10 phrases or 10 questions. And then sometimes you can even ask ChatGPT, hey, this is the main topic. This is what people are searching. Give me some title options. And
Mhm.
sometimes the length, um, don't go overboard because sometimes I see like 100-word titles, or I don't know. Just make it, because remember they're also looking on the phone, so it gets like, a little bit less. So that's how I tell ChatGPT, and then it gives you options.
Mhm.
But and that's where the hook thing comes
Right.
in, and like, okay, grab someone that is catchy, but it's still gonna be optimized, because if we're talking about podcast titles or optimized podcast title, that's my main keyword, but then around it is like the other meat that is gonna make
Yeah.
the title sounds nice. I think we even created some formulas. It's just
Mhm.
a lot of ways that we can go around there. Sometimes it just depends on the mood too. I just pick the
Yeah, like
title.
something like
Yeah.
how to optimize your titles without sounding like ChatGPT.
Yeah. And one thing that is working right now, and you're gonna see now, because as the time we're recording this podcast, and now is the AI, ChatGPT, SEO, things like that. And what I'm seeing also, that even from my clients' old blogs that is working, is those titles that have numbers like top
Yep.
7, or like listicles, I've been seeing, it can change, but that's what I've been seeing too, like top 3, top 8, top 9, or things like that. That's something that I've been seeing that maybe can help someone in here right now with those
Yeah, right.
titles.
Or
Yeah.
something like 5 ways to optimize your podcast titles today.
There you go.
That
Hmm.
would that would do pretty well.
I know it could be a boring title, right?
Right.
It doesn't sound like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, but it's like you're giving those 5 tips, but somebody's searching for, how can I write my podcast titles? You
Right.
never know.
Yep. Yeah, so we talked a little bit already about show notes and how important they are. And I loved how you were talking about how you take the show notes, they could be put into multiple different show notes. I mean, I think we're using show notes and blogs interchangeably here. Um, so you can use it in multiple different ways, and it sounds really great, but it also sounds like a lot of extra work. I mean, if they're not hiring you to do it, how can they just make it a little bit easier for themselves to do, let's say? Like maybe a
Yeah.
broken down, like easier, like bare bones kind of
Yeah, I know, I know.
approach.
It sounds a lot of work. And because I love to do it, but I do have
Yeah.
some clients that they
And it's so
prefer to
needed.
write the content themselves. So just I create them a template, and where like the title, optimized title, and then at least like, I don't know, 8 to 10 headlines.
Hmm.
Make sure you include at least, take them over to one of your freebies, or one, or book a call, or your offer, your other blogs, like that. So it create a template, and where like you
Hmm.
can just add the meat, for the future ones. I noticed that that helps my clients a lot. Some now they know how to do it, so they don't even use the template anymore. But at first, that's what I was doing. And I mean, I think we even created one before, right, for one of these
Yes, we
events.
have. Yes.
And yeah, so I don't know. For me, I think what is work, even for the ones, the coaches or my past clients, is templates. Because you're gonna find a lot online how to do it. Oh, how to do it, or it's just, and because also my personal preferences, I love templates. it's just a lot easier for me to save and
Hmm.
repurpose, reuse. But yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's one way. There could be a better ways, but that's what's working
right.
for me. Yeah.
Well, if you want to go super professional, Sonia is your person to help you do all of those extra things for your podcast. Um, but if not, keep it simple, do a template. I believe we have a freebie, so reach out to either one of us and we have the freebie for you for the template and also for the title SEO freebie. We have that as well that will give you. So, this is all about searchability and long term growth over time, right? With SEO, because it can work beyond that 24-hour mark for us. And that's what I love about podcasting and SEO, right? They can both do the same and keep being brought up and seen, and people can search it and find it and listen any time of the day, right? In
Hmm.
any country, which is awesome. So, based on that, what are some results or signs of traction that your clients have seen um, from optimizing their content?
Oh, okay. I mean, besides, right, oh, more rankings, which, okay, that's good. But I feel is a visibility jump. Like, I, one of my clients, for example, she was really good. She's still really good on LinkedIn. But that was it. You know, LinkedIn, she was still doing YouTube and some of the podcast, but it was just not going to that next level.
Hmm.
But then now that she's been a year with me now she's like, we even have brands or people like reaching out to her to, hey, I want to interview her. Send me your calendar because they are finding her. And sometimes when I check the analytics, I find some search engines that I had no idea people are using, but she is showing up in there. So it's just this brand visibility that you get is just it, like it makes her feel and me feel like oh yes,
Yeah.
like it's so nice. And also it's like I don't have to put this much effort just to be be found. Now it's like my content is doing it for me. And one thing I love too, that I love to see the analytics because sometimes I see the trends of her audience depending on the blogs that we write. Like we have some blogs written last year that now are getting a lot of traction. So now we know, okay, this is their pain point. Let me create
Mm,
content around that. And it just saves you time to come up with ideas
right.
too because you are able to see those trends. So it's.
Yeah, those results are amazing because it goes along exactly along the lines of a podcast. It's like the same exact things can happen for my clients. And that's what I just love seeing, like when it finally connects. And there's different points where it can connect for my clients. Sometimes it's earlier on, right after launching. Sometimes it's a year in or 3 years in. It just depends on them getting their message out to the right people. That's when the connection really happens. And it's not saying that it's not work because it is. Getting there is work. But once you do, it's so much easier to do everything else you want to do in your business. Yeah. So if someone wanted to make their podcast more search friendly without turning into, you or a blogger,
Yeah.
what's an easy shift they could make to this week that could maybe just help them?
I always tell them, go to your DMs, go to your inquiry questions, and see
Mm,
how are they describing those pain points, and just put it in a worksheet or whatever. Like extract that data, and then you're gonna have like a data set of like keywords and topics and things like that, and just pick that. Answer one of those questions with your podcast, with your social media posts, in every shape or form that you can. Answer that question. I think that's one of the free and easiest way for you to gather real data from your audience
Mm-hmm.
directly. Go to your DMs, to your comments, to your inquiry questions that, when they book a call with you. Sometimes even what I would used to do, I would just send a survey questions to people on LinkedIn, and I will gather data like that too. If
Yeah, exactly. You
you're
have to.
starting out. That's how I did it. When I was starting out, I sent a survey, and then
Mm-hmm.
I give them a freebie, and I got a lot of data of their pain points. And yeah,
Nice. Yeah, that's how you're gonna get that information that you need to make it even
content
better.
ideas. And
Yes.
then, yeah, it's
Right?
just like that. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So let's put this into some action. So what would you what would you audit first if someone came to you and said, my podcast isn't being found at all, and I think it's an SEO problem?
Always go and I scroll through your podcast, your titles. That really gives me a glance. Okay, because if you tell me I'm a business coach, I'm a career coach, and then I go into your content, and all I see is just AI generated titles, or very vague or brief, descriptions or titles. Um, yeah, I can tell. Like, okay, you need to work on your messaging, right? Because you probably on the podcast, you're really good at explaining and talking and coming across to your main point. But the part before that, for you to get found, is you also need to connect that. So I always do that. I just want to see, okay, let me see the content. I want to see it. And then, because if you tell me a business coach or career coach, I can already go to Google and type it, and I know the questions already that people are asking. But if I don't see it on your content, then there's a disconnect in there. That's the first thing I do. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a title like My Hot Takes on Coaching. Like, you've got to earn that title. If you're just coming out the gate with titles like that, no one knows who you are. Like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, and sometimes it's a lot about your framework. Let's say, for example, mine, right? All eyes on you SEO, right? And then I make a podcast title, Get Clients with the All Eyes on You framework.
Right.
What does that even mean?
No.
Nobody's searching for all eyes on you, right? So that's what I mean sometimes. And that happens on websites too. That's why it's
Hmm.
like,
Yeah.
it's across that. And I see a lot of like your brand name, or the name of your signature offer. And then sometimes those are like, they're not being searched yet, because you need to build that brand visibility so people can search you by your name. So, but now we have to get found by what people are asking pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, so Sonia, this has been amazing. And I'm just thinking, I feel like I need a workshop in my membership about all the goodness that you have to give. So I would love if that would be a possibility. Maybe that's coming soon in the Podstar membership. But um, but other than that, it's been so much fun to chat. And I would love for people to also connect with you. So I will definitely have your links in the show notes. But if there's anything that you want to say right now, um, do your thing.
No, first of all, thank you for inviting me. It's been fun. And yeah, I'm down for the workshop. That will be pretty cool. I mean, I love doing that. So, and yes, please connect with me on LinkedIn, IG, or Threads. And also, you have more info on my website there. And I don't know. Let me know how can I support all of you because I'm here to do that. I just want more people to have more visibility
Hmm.
everywhere.
Yeah.
So not just get stuck in one platform. So I'm
Yes.
here.
I love it. I love it. All right. Bye, Sonia. Thanks so much.
Bye. Ciao.
Okay, how good was that? Sonia's amazing, and she brings such clarity to the overwhelming topic of SEO with podcasting. I hope this conversation helped you to see that SEO doesn't have to be overcomplicated. We can make it super simple and easy for you to apply to your podcast and make it work for you. And you do that by setting up your content to be found by the right people at the right time. If you want to go deeper on what Sonia shared today, please join Podstar, where you can find her workshop that we did together and the templates that will help you to make sure that your show notes and your titles are reaching your ideal clients today. Go ahead and go to the show description to find the link, and you get 40% off of your first month inside of Podstar when you join via that link. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for listening, and I will see you in the last episode of this Power Podcast series. That's a wrap for today. If you loved this episode, let's keep the momentum going. Leave a quick review on Apple Podcasts. It helps more coaches and entrepreneurs find podcasts to grow, and I really appreciate you being here with me. And if you're ready to grow your podcast strategically, join us inside Become a Podstar today, my membership where I help you turn your podcast into your most valuable business tool. Head to the link in the episode description or DM me, Podstar, on Instagram at Vibe and Voice Media. That is VIBNVOICEMEDIA to get all the details. Can't wait to chat with you. Hit follow, and I'll see you next week.